back flames with little more than water, will, and prayer. That is, till the post-war era, when Sudbury pilot Carl Crossley and some engineer pals got some inspiration from above.
And they came up with the idea, well, why couldn't we use the principle that airplanes use on bombing cities to bomb fires with water? And then Carl came up with the idea of using a 45-gallon drum in Fairchild KR-34.
But the water came out pretty reluctantly. And even getting the portly passenger in was a bit of a problem. In evolutionary terms, it was like a primitive one-celled creature. Carl's next step was putting water inside the floats. And water got in quickly via vents, but it still came out only sparingly. The result was less a punishing blow than a finger wagging.
Well, it was thought as a good idea, but it was just not a good working idea because it just took too long for the water to discharge. Water should have come out in a big glob at once. It came out in a long stream, and often took a mile or so for it to completely drain.
Even so, it was a big step in the evolution. But Carl's bosses weren't exactly progressive. They preferred water bag bombs. And yes, they're exactly what they sound like. Water bag bombs.
This is the next step in the water bombing evolution. It was a paper bag filled with water. It was dropped out of the camera hatches of the Beaver. It didn't work that great. It tended to hit the fire. It could spread the embers around. How it developed, I really don't know.
As neither idea caught on, fighters were again left with only good old water, will, and yes, prayer. But something rose from the ashes of Carl's dream. Like a phoenix, in the 50s, Ontario pilot Tom Cook cooked up a new incarnation of the bomber.
This is the next step in the evolution of the water bombing, and this is the roll tanks that are fitted to the Beaver.
The tanks came with a water pipe curved at both ends. One end for scooping water when the plane taxied over a lake, and the other dumping it into the tank.
And the pilot dumped these tanks by pulling the handle inside, let the water out, released the handle, and they snapped back into position. They were ready to reload again. And this just kept on going.
It worked pretty well. Sort of. Well.
When it was installed, you could not fly any passengers. All you could do was go firefighting. You had to come back, remove the tank before you could do anything else. And it was time-consuming, and it was hard to install.
You know, fire waits for no one.
No, it doesn't, Gary. And progress has its own momentum, and it soon pushed the tanks back inside the floats. Now with hydraulic systems for both water intake and dispersal. Whoa!
The inflow system was much better because you already had your equipment on board without having to do some stopping and bolting and unbolting, and then your equipment was always with you all the time.
The planes continued to evolve. We got the first purpose-built water bomber, the 215, in the late 60s, and in the 90s, the 415 took to the skies. They can intake over 6,000 liters of water in just 12 seconds.
Right at the head there, you'll see it blowing up.
And can drop it in an instant. But it's not just tech that gets the job done, no siree. It's a partnership between human and machine, or rather, a hybrid known as the Bird Dog, who flies above the bombers and directs traffic.
If you can do a crosswind across the rear there, you should have no problem. Okay, Roger.
The Bird Dog also advises the bombers where and when to make the massive drop of water, enough to maim or even kill anyone standing below.
Good one, Bob. That's the place.
So we don't want 6 tons of water dropping on anyone. The Bird Dog flies over and ensures that there's nobody on the ground. The siren is the way to alert them.
Though firefighters are in constant radio contact with command, There are rare occasions in which they can't make it out in time. Which means they chuck their shovels, hit the deck, and like the firefighters of yore, pray.